Anyway, in the episode Venom Returns, the villain from the Doctor Strange crossover, Dormammu, bonds the symbiote with Brock so he can become Venom again, to grab a portal device so he can be released from his dimension. Of course, Venom is too obsessed with killing Spider-Man, so Dormammu gives another symbiote to the insane criminal Cletus Cassidy.
What's wrong? Cassidy is gone. There is only carnage!
Go back a second. You lazy little... Yeah, we'll get to the animation a little later. And Carnage, as we find out, is eviler than thou, willing to kill people to make Dormammu stronger. Oh wait, I'm sorry, drain their life force. A fickle little thing that some shows like to do. Killing? No, that's wrong. We're just gonna have their souls removed and fed to a demon to be damned for all eternity. Your attempts at censorship only resulted in a fate worse than death. So with some help from Iron Man, yes, another friggin' crossover, both symbiote villains are knocked into the portal, and I'm sure Carnage will never bother anyone again. But the portal machine will, as it eventually gets in the hands of the Green Goblin. Yep, it's time for Osborn to get his split personality, and more importantly, Goblin versus Goblin.
Impostor!
A statement that would have made more sense if you hadn't introduced the Hobgoblin first. Moving on, in the Season 3 finale Turning Point, the Goblin learns Peter is Spider-Man, snatches Mary Jane, takes her to the Brooklyn Bridge, and... You included this scene anyway, but not Gwen Stacy herself. Why did you even bother? Fortunately for Mary Jane, she simply falls into another dimension due to the portal device, as does the Green Goblin, instead of, getting impaled by his glider. But don't worry, we all know what he's up to on the other side. In Season 4, Fisk kidnaps Felicia's long-lost father, who turns out knows the super soldier formula that turned Steve Rogers into Captain America, and tests it out on Felicia, turning her into the Black Cat. Yeah, Black Cat doesn't have any superpowers, though if I had to guess, this was done so she wouldn't come off as a complete Catwoman knockoff. She pals around with Spidey for much of the season as he grieves over Mary Jane, until Morbius and Blade return in The Vampire Queen. An encounter with Blade's vampire mother motivates Black Cat and Morbius to join Blade to become vampire hunters themselves, leaving Spidey alone again. To make matters worse, the next episode, Harry gets contacted by the Green Goblin from the other dimension and becomes the second Green Goblin. Also, Mary Jane returns, much to the shock of the original. It's at this point Peter finally reveals he's Spider-Man to her, and in the Season 5 opener, they get married. And I have no doubt that these two will be together forever and ever and... The bulk of Season 5 afterwards involves Fisk and the Insidious Six getting their hands on a doomsday weapon created by the Red Skull during World War II. Spidey, Captain America, 5 other World War II heroes, and the Red Skull all get involved in the battle, for whoever controls the Doomsday device will be able to take over the world.
Of course!
And the Doomsday weapon turns out to be Electro, who manages to bring down S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters single-handedly. Eat your heart out, Loki. Back to Peter and Mary Jane, they go on their honeymoon in the two-parter Return of Hydro Man, where it's revealed that Mary Jane never actually returned from the other dimension. This is actually her clone, who was destroyed by clone decay in the end.
No! Mary Jane! Mary Jane!
Think of it this way, Spidey. You now have a kindred spirit with Cyclops. Unfortunately, this is where Madam Web shows up and introduces her master, the Beyonder, forcing Spider-Man and various other heroes and villains to fight each other on some random planet to see who would win between good and evil. Yep, it's time to adapt the Secret Wars, but it all gets undermined when it's revealed that it's just yet another test for Spidey. And that test leads to The Clone Saga! Well, if only by technicality. Actually, it's several Spider-Men from other dimensions teaming up in the final arc of the show, I Really, Really Hate Clones. So remember in the Clone Saga when it was up in the air whether Peter or Ben Reilly, aka the Scarlet Spider, was real and the other being a clone? Well, in this universe, the Carnage symbiote bonded to Peter, resulting in him turning into a genocidal maniac who wants to destroy all reality. And so, with the help of Scarlet Spider, an armored Spider-Man, a Spider-Man with Doc Ock's arms, a powerless Spider-Man, a mutant Spider-Man, and a still living Uncle Ben, they managed to stop Spider Carnage. But unfortunately, the Clone Saga would continue. And in the end, Spider-Man goes to the dimension the powerless one is from, which turns out to be ours. So that would make this guy Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
I'm an actor who plays you on TV.
Oh, so Nicholas Hammond. Or possibly Shinji Toto. So after the obligatory Stan Lee cameo, yeah, this was being done long before the movies, Spider-Man and Madam Web go out looking for Mary Jane. The end. No, seriously, they ended it there. Wait. This series is actually better than I remember. Sure, I rag on the censoring, but truth be told, it isn't as bad as I thought. Sure, it was face-palming seeing the police with laser guns, and they did abide by the never say die rule a lot, but they did break it from time to time. The villain Tombstone even seemed exempt from it. The thing I can't defend, however, is the animation. Not that it's badly done, but rather it would reuse shots over and over and over again. Believe me, reusing shots of Spider-Man swinging through the city was bad, though the close-ups were even worse. And then, of course, there's the inherent idiocy we see in all the Marvel Universe. The fact that civilians are ungrateful morons. Spider-Man was quick to be blamed for every little thing villains would do. In fact, I actually have a new appreciation for Flash Thompson, since at least he never buys into these things. He seems to be the only one here who acts like a normal person. And when people think actions done by this guy was done by the wall crawler, then clearly the Marvel civilians are too dumb to live. Now, the Spider-Man franchise loves to beat the idea, with great power comes great responsibility, over our heads, but I think this show had a much stronger prevalent theme: love. Peter and Mary Jane go to great lengths to be together. Morbius's feelings for Felicia drive him to try to get rid of his vampirism. When Jameson's son was in danger, he willingly went to Spider-Man for help. Dr. Connor's wife was willing to do anything to cure him of his lizard form, and even Fisk, ruthless criminal mastermind, genuinely loved his wife and son. It's largely the motive for everyone, which leads to everyone having depth. I admit, I came into this expecting a watered-down, badly animated, weak show, but I got one that was rather story-driven. Watered down? Yeah, maybe. Animation problems? Yeah, that I can't defend. But overall, it wasn't a drag. Something we won't be getting next time, though.